Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Robert Kelly, aka the Dude, aka the King of Zoom. Thanks for checking out the Calta and Kelly YouTube page. We hope you like what we're putting up there. Make sure you go to patreon.com/Robert Kelly and sign up over there, because every week we put a show, an extra show. Friday show, only Patreon. And we also have the JO party on Saturday night, only Patreon. That means you, all the fans, get to come into a Zoom and hang out with us and all the other ladybugs. And it's a blast. So we also let you watch all the shows live. YKWD live, all the Calta and Kelly's live, unedited, all go on the Patreon. And you also get the 10-minute extra YKWD every week goes on there, along with Live from the Shed, one-on-ones, Tech Talk with Bobby and Friends. There's so much content up there. And you know what? It's all for what? A price of a cup of coffee. $5 get you in the door. And you're going to love it. So make sure you go over there, patreon.com/Robert Kelly. And here's another little thing I want you to do. If you like this content we're putting up, subscribe and like. That's it. Just hit the little button, subscribe, so you know when we got a new show out, and then like it so we know you like what we're doing. Okay? That's it. Patreon.com/Robert Kelly. Subscribe and like. Now, enjoy the show.
Are you ready to downsize? At Tiny Homes of Maine, our team works together to design and construct any custom mobile space unique to you, all while working within your budget. Contact us today at tinyhomesofmaine.com. We're committed to you.
Right down from your belly. So get in here, you half a queer. It's time for Calta and Kelly.
That's for you.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
How you doing, pal?
I'm doing
Heard you just took
not
a
as
big
good as I was doing 2 days ago, but I'm doing good.
Heard you just took a big dump.
Well, I mean, if you want to go right into that personal shit, yes, I just took I took a nice salty ocean dump.
What does that mean? Like leftover in your system?
Yeah, it's like it's a different dump. A beach dump is different than a regular northwest to east dump, wintertime dump,
You know how you could tell, like, when you can, like, I know, obviously I'm going to say this now because we're friends, but I can tell when I look at somebody whether they're a good parent or not a good parent. Especially once you have kids, you can tell. You and Dawn are great parents. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head if I can name somebody I think is a questionable parent. Like, I was so surprised that Pete, my other best friend, when he had a baby, I was like, he's not ready for a baby. He was the best father ever. And even as a single father, he was a great father. You could just tell. So I knew this girl once. And
I mean, you're talking about your local best friend.
My local best friend. Yeah.
Not your other best friend, because you don't have a.
Not my all-time galaxy best friend.
I think I'm a universe.
You're the universe best friend.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I knew this girl, and she had a hot sister who was a stripper. And she had like 3 kids from 2 different guys, and they were beautiful little mixed kids, but she was just a mess. She did drugs, and she didn't talk to one of the fathers. And all that. So she takes the kids on a family trip to the beach, and the little one is like 3 or 4 years old. I guess 4 is when you're pretty much talking a lot. And she's like, "Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom." And she's like, "The bathroom's all the way over there. Hold it in." She goes, "Go in the water and just pee in the water." And she goes, "I can. It's number 2." And she goes, "Just dig a hole in the sand and shit in the hole." I thought that's the worst parenting I've ever heard in my life. You just told your 4-year-old to shit in a hole.
Well, I mean, it depends on what century you're in, but
at the beach now.
Well, dude, 100 years ago,
it
was good advice.
Camping now in the middle of nowhere.
Advice.
Good advice.
Great advice.
Well, walk 200 yards that way and shit in a hole. That's good advice.
If you're homeless and you're living on Venice Beach in 2021, good advice.
Hey, I think that I'd be fine. I don't want to be, but I think if I was homeless, I'm too smart to actually end up being like stuck out in the cold. Like I would totally have a place to sleep. Like I think that if I was homeless, I'd find a creative place to hide and sleep every night. You ever see those
Yeah,
people that sleep?
it'd be some rich old guy's house because you'd be sucking them off.
No, even I'd rather be homeless. I think. No, what I'm saying is like I see homeless people and they'll just stop on the sidewalk and just sleep on the sidewalk. Not even like in the middle of right there on the sidewalk. I think I would find a place to go where nobody would fuck with me, and where I'd have shelter. I'd be creative with it. You know.
What do you mean? I don't understand. Like, there's either indoors or there's outdoors.
Well, no, because yes, it's all outdoors mostly. But I also find like I would go to. You ever go driving? And Mush, you probably see this in Texas too. You ever go driving and every once in a while you just look over and off the highway or just some weird street, there's a fenced in little building and nobody knows the fuck it is. There's always a generator there and the building, and it's probably like a local power something, or I don't know. It's just like I'd make my home over there for a little while till they kick me out. I would climb that fence so that I know that I'm safe inside the fence. And then I'd get, there's always like a little shed or something on that property. I'd just kick that door open and I'd live in there until they were like, hey, you can't live here. And I'm like, all right, I'll go 2 miles up the road tomorrow and find the next generator.
I think you'd end up like John Rambo in First Blood.
I would leave. I would heed the advice of the sheriff. I don't think that I have it in me when the sheriff drives me out of town to turn around and walk back into town while he's still on the premises.
So you'd just keep walking over the bridge into the next town.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck that guy. Let me go see what this town has to offer.
Even if you just fought your ass off in a war for that guy's freedom.
The last thing I need is another war with some fucking hilljack Seattle mountain guy. I'd just be like, all right, let me go see.
A hilljack Seattle man.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know you were talking about hilljack Seattle guys.
He's like one of those guys that lives in the wet mountains. I don't fuck with those guys. I'm telling you right now, I would be the best homeless guy. I would sneak in the airport and then I would go to sleep in the stall and they knock on the door and be like, shitter's full.
Where are you going to get the amount of food you need to stay?
That's different. I'm talking about shelter.
Okay, so shelter, you're fine.
Shelter, I'm fine. I also think that people are overlooking the drop ceiling. The ceiling made famous in the 60s and 70s where there's a ceiling and then there's tiles a couple of inches below it. Those push up. So I would find a nice place with a drop ceiling and I would store my stuff in the ceiling. Who the fuck looks in the ceiling these days? Boom.
You think you're going to fit in a ceiling?
I'm not going to. No, you're not listening to me. I'm going to hide my stuff in there. I'm not going to put, like, hey, if you walk around an airport with a fucking bag and a blanket and all that stuff, even if you look disheveled, people are going to be like, homeless guy, get him out of here. If you hide all your stuff in a safe spot, tuck your shirt in and walk around, most of the time people won't fucking even notice you're there.
But can I just say something, though? You can only walk around the front of the airport where there's nothing there anymore. They keep everything behind the gates. I mean, in 1978, you could walk through an airport and have fun. But in 2021, what are you going to get? A fucking snack?
I would. I also find, and I know you know about this, Bobby. If you walk someplace with a brisk walk of confidence, and I don't know if you're homeless if you can get your hand on it, but if you can get a hold of a clipboard, that's better than anything else. If you walk somewhere briskly with a clipboard, they'll let you fucking walk in anywhere.
Yes.
I would. Yes. Here's my plan. I didn't want to put it all out there, but here's what it is. I go to the mall.
Yeah,
I go to the less busy bathrooms at the mall. I hide my personal items in the drop ceiling in the mall, in the bathroom. Then I get my clipboard and I walk around and I clean off tables and I throw things out. And somebody's like, oh, he must work here because he's always cleaning shit up and he doesn't bother anybody. And then they'll be like, he's got a clipboard, leave him alone. That's it.
You don't think that, first of all, every bathroom in a mall is fucking empty, or at least should be. Yeah. You should never shit or piss in a mall unless it's absolutely 100% necessary. That's where most kidnappings and rapes and fucking sexual assaults happen.
Bobby, the Florida malls, the Tampa malls especially, are the most luxurious. Like, you have a baby. When you have a baby, they make rooms in the mall where you can just go in there and relax for a little while with the baby. like nice,
Right.
comfortable chairs. Moms could go in and close the curtain and breastfeed. There's bathrooms the size like 8 people could fit in it because they know sometimes you got other kids that have to shit.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know what happens in Tampa, but up here in the malls, you don't do that.
All right, well, I'm gonna be homeless in Florida because if I do have to sleep outside, I'd like it to be warm.
Yes. Well, homeless in Florida is I mean, Jesus Christ. I was down where you live. There was a guy living, those you're driving down like St. Pete Way, and those big company signs, and they have the big buildings behind it, and there's a sign like, Tech Core,
Yeah.
right? And there's trees around it and bushes. There was a guy living behind the fucking sign.
Why not?
But that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a sprinkler going off. I think he was cleaning his shoe in the sprinkler. I mean,
I often think if I'm driving down the highway,
Mhm.
I always look because sometimes I can see the cops. There's secret roads that they can go in that run along the highway and the trees. So if they ever had an emergency, cut to the other side. So I watch them, and then sometimes I'll take the Hummer through there just to see how far I can go. Because if you're ever sitting in 4 hours of traffic and you're like, "Fuck this," and you turn off and you go, I would do that. I would get all the materials. I'd be like a hummingbird. I'd go out and I'd get a piece of cardboard and then another piece and a piece of wood, find some tin somewhere. It may take me like a month, but I'll get enough to put a little makeshift tent over there. And now I'm in the middle of the woods where there's no people walking around.
I don't know if hummingbirds do that, by the way. I think that's just regular birds.
Well, hummingbirds are cuter. Oh. I gotta tell you, this is like Christmas right now. Oh fuck, Bobby. So I got in here right before the show when you were shitting, and my wife texted and said that practice was canceled tonight, and I was to my son's practice, and I told Mush I have the joy that a child has on Christmas morning right now because I don't want to drive all the fuck to Clearwater to go to practice, sit in my car for an hour, and then this weekend I couldn't come up to see you because the game in Fort Myers, and that game just got canceled.
So what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I have to see what the availability is of to travel now. It's a little close to the date, but let me take a look after the show.
Dude, if I was homeless, I would definitely move south. I would go to Tampa.
Yeah.
I would live in California. I mean, that's why, like, people in California, I was watching there's a guy on YouTube that I don't know what he does, but he goes to all the homeless encampments, and there's so many of them now in California. There's a fucking million of them. Venice Beach.
There's like hundreds of people living in them. It's insane.
It's nuts that they're right on the beach, and now they're off the beach, up on the roads, and they're just fuck it, tent. And they're, these are like 8 people, 10 people tents
everywhere.
They have right on the road, right on the beach. They set them up, they connect them, and that's it. They're living there. And the fact that they can't do anything about it. I saw a guy pulling into his building in downtown LA between two, like the homeless encampment stopped for his driveway, driving by in his brand new Mercedes, almost hits a lady in wearing a rug, literally just a rug, almost hits her, and then goes into his brand new building. It's a nightmare. It's falling apart.
It's insane. You ever see those people who live in the aqueducts underneath like remember in Greece when they did the race car driving and they went through where handsome John Travolta raced?
That happens in Vegas too. They live in the storm drains.
Yeah, but those storm drains sometimes fill up while they're in there and they fucking drown.
As they should.
Oh, they're human beings.
Oh my God. Who are you?
I'm gonna tell you right now, if those bitches were lined up in my driveway, I'd be turning my sprinklers on every 5 minutes to get them the fuck out. I would hate that. But
they'd be showering.
That's true.
Yeah, they would. They'd be doing their laundry.
Yeah.
They'd be using it like a bidet, cleaning their assholes.
But look, so all of those people, right?
Yeah.
Are you showing? Okay, so this is how bad the homeless problem is. So all of these people now, basically, what they are settlers. They're like settlers, like that moved to the West in the 1400s. That's what they're doing. They're going to find. They need to find. There are enough people to be in their own colony. They should just move someplace and take over a parking lot. Look at all these fucking abandoned buildings they have. Just give them a building and let them go live there.
Yeah, but if they go in that building, dude, they're gonna wind up. I mean, murdering and drug. This is all drugs.
Yeah,
and alcoholism. Look at this.
I'm with you, Bobby. A lot of it is, but a lot of those people are taking drugs and alcohol because they can't get the proper mental health care that they deserve. And then some of them.
What are you trying to get? Are you running for fucking office? What are you talking about?
No, I
Who
believe
am
you.
I talking to right now?
You don't even want to know. Do you want to know this? I could tell you now because it's past the point. Oh, I did tell you. I texted you. I said not to say it on the air. That one night after the show, I went and gave out blankets to homeless people because it was like in the 30s here in Tampa. I'm a secret nice guy sometimes because you
So
gotta.
you went into one of your rooms and took the bedding off on one of your rooms that you don't ever fucking use. Well, I mean, I don't
No,
understand.
my buddy David, who actually runs a charity, every time it gets cold, he gets blankets from FEMA. They're these giant horse blankets. They're gross. They're all new. They're all brand new, but they're so scruffy and uncomfortable. But they give them to him by the fucking pallet, and he loads up his giant pickup truck, and he just rides around with his flashlight looking for homeless people and brings them blankets. It's the difference between them sleeping on a spot and freezing to death on it overnight. And I just feel awful. I mean, these are a lot of these people. Some of them are fucking scumbags. Some of them are made bad decisions and they left their families and did drugs and but then some of them just fucking hit us a little bit of bad luck, especially right now with these people losing their jobs with COVID and all that. It's hard to differentiate between the people who need help and the people who are pieces of shit. So you have to just assume that some of them need help.
No, dude, I have no problem with how I mean, look, dude, I've helped homeless people, but I'd rather, to be honest with you, go help a fucking child. Go help kids who need toys or school shit or kids who are abused or foster home kids. If you're in my eyes, if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're homeless, that's your fucking fault. Fuck you. You can go get a job and you can get an apartment. You can move somewhere and get where it's cheap to live and go do labor. Everybody's fucking hiring for labor. There's a million fucking Mexican dudes who are like, you know what? They can't even speak the language, but you know what they do? They get up at 4 a.m. and they go get a job somewhere and they work their asses off in the kitchen or whatever. It's that a lot of fucking of us don't want to take a shit job for shit money because they have some American dream horse shit. When in reality, you know what? The American dream is having a roof over your head, food in your fucking belly, and supporting your family. That's your American dream. Have a family, roof over your head, some food in your belly, and you get to fucking have weekends and happy time with your friends and family. But somehow the American dream became being a millionaire, living in fucking LA with a massive house and a pool and 5 cars and a fucking Learjet. Go fuck yourself. Get a job, take your stupid tent, pack it up, go get a job, and get an apartment for $450 in the shit neighborhood. It's better than living on the streets, shitting in the streets, and doing drugs. Fuck them. Fuck you. You're cold. Go get a fucking blanket. I mean, go get a job. That's one way you don't get cold. You'll be inside for 12 hours a day with heat and probably food. You want to get a job, go to McDonald's, get a fucking job. 6 of you, get a job, get a small apartment, and fucking live together. So if you're in your 20s and 30s and you're fucking homeless, fuck you.
While I somewhat agree with that, some people, the young people, are lazy, and they find it's easier for them. Like, you ever go on unemployment and then somebody offers you a job after like in 3 weeks unemployment, you're like, oh, I can make $200 a week on unemployment, or I can make 180 after taxes by working for this shit job. I might as well just stay home. So you kind of get that lazy mentality. That I understand. But you, of all people, should know that a lot of these people who are out there are because they don't have the mental capacity to have a job because they've had some sort of trauma. They're veterans. They were molested. They had shitty family lives, and they don't know any better. And this is the way they self-medicate with alcohol and drugs, and then it gets to be too much.
That's fine. I'll take that. You can go to rehab. You can have the alcohol clinics. You can have those places to get them help. Fine.
If
I'm talking about regular. I'm talking about I said alcoholics, drug addicts. You said no. Some of these people are regular people that are homeless. Fuck you. That's a choice.
All right, but let me throw this out. Some of these people are regular, non-educated people. I mean, you get somebody who's a guy. So
you don't need an education. You're talking about guys who come from Mexico, don't even speak the language. They don't know shit. And I mean, Mike, Mush, back me up. I mean, they go out into a field and pick shit all day and they get a paycheck and they go and they live with 12 other relatives and they're happy.
Yeah, well, they're not happy, but
Yeah.
they get paid off the books. So they don't get paid minimum wage, but
But
they do
okay,
have a
but
job.
are they happier than the fucking guy living in a tent, shitting in the street in downtown LA?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we have an area out here called Plant City where strawberries are the big thing. It's where it's basically all farmland where they farm strawberries, and there's probably a 60% population of Mexicans. Half of those are probably illegal. And you're right; they all live in their house, 12 of them in a house, or whatever the situation is, and they all go work long ass days picking strawberries, and they're happy to be together, and they're happy to have jobs and roofs. But they're also unhappy that they're not legal, so they don't get minimum wage. That a lot of the women are getting raped by the farmers because there's nothing they could do. They can't go out.
Stop. That's a lie.
That is definitely not a lie.
You're just saying that shit. You just say the farmer is not raping some Mexican chick, and there's nothing those guys could do.
But that's a big problem.
Yeah, it's not a regular farmer like a wholesome American farmer guy. Sometimes there are other Mexicans.
Or the other Mexicans.
Well, you're saying it. The farmer, the guy who owns the farm, some white guy with a cowboy hat and a wife.
No, that's in your head.
Get in here, fucking Melissa. I'm gonna fucking rape you, Sanchez. I mean, come on,
dude,
come on.
We used to have a guy.
Don't set it up like that.
Hey, I don't think they warned them about it beforehand. Come in for your raping.
This is the problem.
Man, this is already.
If you're going to fucking Sheriff Bobby, this is what he's going to tell you. Come on now, this is bullshit. You ain't getting raped out there.
No, dude, look I'm just saying you're setting it up like the guy who owns the farm. Now get in here. I mean, dude, come on.
We used to have a guy who drove a tractor every morning and used to listen to the show, and he'd call us from inside the tractor. And it was not like a tractor like you see in
a tractor trailer or a tractor like on a farm?
A tractor on the thing. So what it was is he'd explain it to us. He'd get in there because you couldn't hear a thing. It was absolutely silent. And we're like, how are you on a tractor right now? And he said, I don't know why. Am I echoing to you guys?
A little bit.
Sorry. So he's like, I have $1 million tractor. You get inside of it. You put the GPS in there. It tells you what you need to, where you need to go, whatever. And he goes, and then basically I just hit the button and it goes, and I sit in the air conditioner and I listen to you guys all day long. And he would call us all the time. And we're like, that sounds like the greatest job in the world. And then he went on to tell us, he's like, yeah, he goes, you see one of these hot Mexicans get a blowjob on the side. We're like, what? And he goes, you just tell them they got to blow you. There's nothing they can do because they don't want to lose their job and they can't go to the cops on you and say, I mean, this is the guy who's doing it telling us about it because he's a dumb fuck redneck and he's like thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. So it's not, and it's a known problem that they have.
Okay, but that's the fucking piece of shit worker, not the farmer. That's the garbage piece of shit that is fucking abusing women in their job because he can. That's some psycho but that's some psycho redneck fucking working dude shit. I guarantee you the farmer, the guy who owns the farm, is not fucking raping women. That's a whole different thing. And number two, here's the thing, Mike. If people give Mexican people shit, they're the only, I mean, they come to the country. You can say bad shit happens, of course, but they come here, work their asses off and get a job, open up their own. They're like, you know what? We're going to assimilate, but we're also bringing our culture. Open up a restaurant, a bar. They work their asses off. Then they're good values, family values. They're all about now you can say what you want. Everybody has their own bullshit. The Irish, the Italian, every culture that came here, the same shit. But I very rarely do I see, if anybody could, is that people that could have a tent city would be Mexican, don't speak English, came here illegally. None of that shit stops them. They still go get a job and they still have a house, cars, send their kids to school, nice clothes. I mean, is it designer everything? No. Is there crime? Yes. But they still work their asses off and do what they have to do to survive and live a happy life. So these people who are fucking setting up a tent, to me, that's a choice. When
Listen,
I was drinking, that was my choice. I chose to stop drinking and using drugs. I was done. I went and got help. Should there be help for these people? Absolutely. Should there be a place where they could go? Yes. Can we do better? Fuck yes. But as far as letting them just be homeless and not giving them an option, there's no fucking option. So you're saying, hey, yeah, just be homeless. Just throw up a fucking tent on the street. Go fuck
what is
yourself.
the option? Arresting them?
The option is rehabs. The option is
no. I know.
mental,
What do you tell the people in LA now? Like they're setting up 10 cities and there's nothing they can do about it because there's nothing they can do about it. There's no money in LA is bankrupt. There's no money for them to start public health systems to go get.
I fucking beg to differ.
Well,
I beg to differ.
quick.
You're talking the richest state in the fucking country.
That's been financially mishandled for the last 50 years.
It doesn't matter.
Before we say goodbye to Aruba Bob for a while,
Before we say goodbye to what?
Aruba Bob, I guess he's gone. But I have a solution. Is what if you just hired the homeless to get rid of the homeless?
That sounds like a great action film.
You can do that.
That sounds like that sounds like a great movie. We just hire, we literally go in at night and we find the toughest homeless to take out the other homeless. And we give them certain guns, and whoever wins gets a house in Tampa and a pool, like a nice place. Wow, you fucking love these people. They might as well live next to you. All right, you're giving out fucking blankets. Just be their friends, you fucking cocksucker.
Let me ask you.
Why is there no homeless encampments here? Why is there no homeless encampments in Boston? Why is there no homeless encampments in Long Island or New York or New Jersey?
There's a better system, even though it's still shitty in place, and there's I think more places for them to live, so you don't see it gathered as much.
That's the exact opposite. There's more places in LA and southern states where it's hot, where you can just live outside. You can't stay outside for the whole year.
I don't really know, Bob. I don't know, but I guarantee you, 80% of the people that are out there in the homeless camps, and I would probably say it's a significantly accurate number. If you went up to them and said, "I will pay you a wage so that you don't have to live on the streets," they would say, "Okay." I don't think that it's as many people that are choosing to be lazy as you do. And although I do think there's some out there, I think some people just got in over their head and there's nothing they can do. No,
you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying that these people are lazy. I'm saying there's two things. There's people that need help with drugs and alcohol, mental illness, or whatever you want to call it. And they should have that help, right?
Right.
I mean, they have how many people are in jail in California or around the world for fucking stupid drug offenses, for having weed or whatever, right? And we're paying for that shit. So the fact that they don't have the help they need, if you're a millionaire actor in LA, you can recover from drug addiction. Nothing if you got the money. So we could take money. There's money available, but it's lining the pockets of all these fucking politicians and all these big companies so all these actors that make the money. Look at you're not a fucking gazillionaire, but you're going to go out and give time. You do charities for all kinds of people all year round, all the time. And you got these big actors that make millions of dollars, all these big producers that make millions of dollars. You got people that make billions of dollars. You could take some of that money and open up facilities for people to get help, right? So this is your option. Let them live on the street and just die slowly, okay? And that builds and that passes on, because the more you do that, the more people that come, the more people that are doing drugs. So they're not settlers, they're fucking zombies. They're literally zombies. And that zombie nation is getting bigger because there's no help available.
But
right?
you realize it's also perpetuating generations to come. I mean, these people who are doing that are having kids, and these kids are growing up that way, and they're thinking that's the way it goes. They don't know any better. You know, my wife is a social worker, and I'm blown away by the lack of funding that social programs get, by these kids, and like she works in a school for girls, and how many of these girls had to be separated from their parents because they were mother's boyfriend that she knew for 3 weeks was living in the house and raping the kid or bugging the kid or being sexually inappropriate in front of the kid. How many people's relatives are getting sexual with them? It's fucking disgusting. And I think it's a lot more than you think it is. Just like you didn't really think that there was a lot of that going on with the farmers, which I didn't mean the farmer with the pitchfork and his wife, but the people who work on the farm. I mean, it's just the problems are all these families are in the constant state of addiction spirals. And when the one can't get out of it, the kids do what they see the parents doing, and they get in it. Now, I don't think it's anybody's fault.
They spend more money on closing down a street for a movie set, for a movie.
In LA, sure.
Yeah, then fuck it. So it doesn't.
It's all about money.
Yeah, but why should I give? Absolutely, but the money's there. If you can shut down a highway to film a fucking helicopter zooming in with a guy on it that's going to drop out into a fucking barrel and then take out a gun and fucking Godzilla's going to. I mean.
For a movie that will come out on DVD and nobody will ever fucking buy it, and they'll still make hundreds of thousands of dollars off it. Yes,
right. So you could find the mental health for these people, but I think you see the 20-year-old asshole on the corner with a dog and a fucking broken guitar, saying, "Hey, can you give me money? Go fuck yourself."
And that's get up. Look, I'm with you. There's some people you look at and you go, like, I've seen guys with shoes with sneakers before, and I'm like, that guy's got nicer sneakers than I do. And I don't even care if somebody gave it to him, because if they did, then he could take those nice shoes and he could go try and get a job. I'm with you. Fuck those guys. But then there's some old ladies that you talk to and you're like, where's your family? And they're like, my son died and I didn't have anybody else in my family and I couldn't pay my bill. Now I'm on this. Now there's a nice old lady who just got chucked out onto the street.
There was a guy who built little tiny homes. He went and he got his own money and he built these little homes and he put them on the street so they have a place to go with air conditioner or heat or whatever the fuck in it. And they wouldn't be, and they took them all down. They made them go all the way because they weren't sanctioned. You can't even help these people because the government will come in and fuck you at any angle they can. Because if they're not doing it and they're not getting credit for it, the tiny home people from the tiny homes of Maine, right? These people are so fucking on point. They're one of the main reasons they started this company was to help homeless people of Maine.
Oh, really?
So they could, yes,
they get affordable homes.
They want to make affordable tiny homes. They want to start. So we're going to start promoting them when they're starting to do it now. So they're going to make these little tiny homes so they can get land, right? And put these on there. And then people that need homes, families, they can have one of these and they'll have a roof over their head. They'll be able to go to
people I think would appreciate that. And they're like, look, it's not a palace, but it'll give you 6 months to try and get your shit together.
Yeah, I mean, what is a palace? When you think of New York back in the day when the Irish and the Italian came here, they lived in shitty little apartments that now go for $6,000 a month.
Yeah, it was certainly a different time. Like Sarah, I think, said that her family came here and didn't speak English, and so did mine, and so did Bobby's and all that. But it was a different time when we were still building this country, and you can come here and you can get plenty of jobs. You can get land for affordable price. That right there to me. So this is what my charity does. Is we help kids who've aged out of foster care. So if you are 17 years old and you've been in the foster program where you've lived in different homes with different families, or maybe one family for an extended amount of time, and you get money from the state to help you survive until you become an adult at 18. Then at 18, that's it. You're done. I don't know what your life was like at 18, but I could not go out into be an adult at 18. I could not afford anything. Now, what my wife does.
I was homeless. I've been homeless, Mike.
Right.
I've been homeless. I slept in parks. I slept in.
That's absolutely. And you should never have had to do that.
No, but it was my choice because I was a little fuck.
But these kids here, a lot of them aren't little fucks. I can't tell you how many times my wife is like, I have to help this girl tonight. And I'll go, why? Because she's 17. She's getting accepted to all these colleges because she's a straight A student, but she has no family and she doesn't know how to fill out the paperwork. She doesn't know, who to contact or whatever. So they need somebody in their lives to do that. A lot of times these foster families, they're, a lot of them are doing it because out of the love for humans, but some of them are doing it just because they get that extra money every month. So
the foster homes that I were in, because I was in foster homes too.
Right.
I've been a bunch of them. A lot of them were doing it for the money. Most of them, I don't think one of them was doing it. Now, here's the thing, though. they were doing it for the money, but there was a couple of them that were doing it for both, to help a kid that needs help because they had the room, and they were doing it because they needed extra cash. You can do both.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You can. I look. So this charity that I work with, right? These people that I found, they have some land in an area called Brandon. It's outside of Tampa. It's really nice. It's a city, but there's a lot of land that's unused there. There's farmland over there, and they bought a nice piece of land on a lake. I think back in the day there was like a nice trailer park there. That's not. There are some nice trailer parks, believe it or not. They're manufactured homes, but they have a huge amount of land, and their house is a double wide trailer. They live on it. And then they have a bunch of those tiny homes on their property. They also have a cabin, like you'd see, like maybe at a summer camp, with kitchen stuff in there, so the kids can go in there and cook and have a place to sit down and eat, like a little dining hall. And their vision for their charity is to keep putting those tiny homes on there, so that more and more kids, which they wish they didn't have, that have no families and age out of foster care, have a place to go. So now these kids, instead of being homeless, they can come and live in the tiny house, and they can get jobs. They have an address. They even have a couple of cars. They have this deal with this scooter company where they buy scooters so they can get to and from work all the time. Yeah. And these guys, this guy and his wife have like 25 kids living on their property, where they're just trying to keep these kids to help them move on to school, to the military, to an adult life.
Yeah. But dude, you have to, I mean, you can't, you know, you got this whole conversation started with this homeless people. Look, when you make it available for them, you give opportunity to somebody, and you give somebody responsibility. I believe if they'll take it, responsibility, a job, being there at a certain time, doing a certain task, being a certain way when you're there. I believe most people will take that responsibility. Okay. But when you just say, hey, you can just live outside and we're not going to fuck with you. If you just say, hey, you can go into stores and steal shit and we're not going to fucking arrest you. I don't fucking buy that. You're not giving values. You're not giving responsibility. You're taking everything away from a human being that gives them power. Yeah. You know, when I
agree with that.
One of the things that got me sober is that I worked on through the juvenile system. They gave me a job on a farm, and I had to wake up at, I don't know, fucking 5:30 in the morning because I had to ride my bike. It was 5 miles or something, like 3.5 miles away from my house, 5 miles away in this country roads, upstate New York. And I had to ride my bike. Nobody was giving me a ride. So I woke up, I was like, how am I going to get there? My mother was like, you got a bike. And I got on this bike. I figured out that I had to get there. I got there an hour early the first day because I just mistimed it. So I had to figure that out. Okay, so I'll leave. Okay. Now, I might be late. I got to leave earlier. So I had to ride my bike in the middle of the fucking morning when it was dark out. I saw the sun come up to get to this job that I was literally shoveling shit out of a barnyard of 9 animals. I had to do the cow pasture. I had to do the sheep stuff. I had to weed a cornfield by hand. I had to do all this hard, fucked up labor. And then I would leave at the end of the day, when I was exhausted, I'd have to jump back on a bike and drive the fuck home.
Yeah.
And that gave me sense of responsibility, and it gave me some type of pride that I didn't 100%. Make that much. I made $100 a week.
No, I'm saying I agree with you 100%. Without that, you grow up thinking that handouts are okay. And
now, the farmer used to make me suck his dick to keep my job, because that's what they do. So I used to have to blow this guy.
All farmers. Let me ask you this though. Okay. This is interesting because I think about this too. When I was in 6th grade, I had a New York Post paper route, and I had to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, individually wrap all the papers in plastic, load them in my bike, and then the route started 5 miles from my house. So I had to drive on my bike. I had to go down there in the snow, the rain, whatever, deliver all the papers. And then on Wednesday, I had to go back to these people's houses and collect the money that they owed. That's how we got paid.
Yeah.
So I did that. And I did that when I was in 6th grade. So that's 11 years old, 12 years old. And it taught me to, because I also lived in a shitty government housing where we got like government cheese and all that stuff. I mean, we were legit poor. And I was like, this will never be me when I'm an adult. I will never be like this. My mother was just a single mother with 2 kids. She was, in her 20s. So I don't blame her. She went to college and got her master's degree. But I started working at a young age. I then went on to work at a bakery. And then when I was in high school, I had 2 jobs. But because I never wanted to be that person. But my question is, would you make Max do that?
Do what?
Would you make Max have to go through what you went through, getting up early, 5 mile?
I absolutely. I will listen.
I have a hard time making Joey. I'm like, I don't want my kids to have to do that shit. Even though it taught me so much and it made me so much stronger, I don't want them to have to go through that shit.
I don't want my kids to have to do it. I want my kid to want to do it.
That's different.
Yeah. Okay. I don't. Look at, like I said, Matt, I got a snowblower, and Max was like, "Can I use it?" I was like, "Yeah, you can use it." And I made him do the driveway.
Yeah.
I go, "This is for you." I go, "I got the big gas one, this electric one, so you can work." And I want him to go out and do the job. And he quits halfway through. He's like, I go, "Max, you got to finish."
Can't quit.
And he's like, "What?" I go, "You got to finish." And I made him finish. And he didn't like it.
Parenting. That's good parenting.
And it's like, I mean, I'm in the backyard and I build shit in the backyard. The reason why I do have to shit in the backyard that I do is because he's seeing me do this, and he'll come over and want to help me do stuff. And I let him. I go up on the roof before the storms. I went up there. Even when the first storm came, I had to go up on the roof to make sure the vent was, and he climbs up the ladder with me, fucking shaking. And he's crying every time, and he still does it, and he pushes through it, and he gets up on the roof, and he sees me do a little work, and that's to me, that instills in him that you have to push through your fears and your bullshit. Now, look, I understand what you're doing. You don't want to be a shitty dad. You have the money, you have the means, right? So I don't think that's bad, but there is a certain point that he's going to get to it when you're not going to be there, and he's going to have to push through something to get to the other side. That's going to happen whether you do it or not. There's going to be a time where Joey's not going to have you.
Right. And so in my situation, so it's funny you said it, because I had the most loving men in my life. My Uncle Joe, my cousins, they were all good guys. They were all there, but I wasn't their kid, and I wasn't even their grandchild. So I wasn't the one that they were taking out to show how to build stuff and climb on the roof and all that. But I did do enough of watching them. But I didn't really learn how to do anything, which is part of the reason why, thank God I have money, because I can't do shit for myself when it comes to hanging stuff and building stuff. I mean, I'm great at surviving, but I don't know how to do half the fucking things that you would do. I can't build anything, but I've worked my way around it. But I do know I do have a great sense of responsibility, and I think my son has developed that, because he, as an athlete now, he realizes the only way he's going to be successful is to put in the work. So he's getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning on his own. He's making his own food because he doesn't want to eat the shit food at school. Like I'm seeing a sense of responsibility in him where I know he's going to be okay. So I'm with you. I mean, these kids are got to learn by what they see, and I think it's great that you do that.
But it's also too, like, I mean, when I father, to believe it or not, Mike, you are a part of that. You know what I mean? I've seen you with Joey at Max's age, and and I've done stuff too where I'm like, oh shit. And there's certain guys in my head that are part of me being a dad. I think I don't think you're just a dad. I think that, I have a joke about, I was going to write a one-man show called My 10 Dads, because I have so many people that are in my head when I try to father him. But I also have bad people. I have to keep those out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like even this morning, Max is in the kitchen, and he said something to me, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said something. I go, he goes, "What's wrong?" I go, "Your face." And I was kidding. And he comes up and he fucking whaps me right in the stomach. And I went, and I was like, Max, you can't hit people. You can't just, I'm like, you're going to Houdini somebody someday. You're getting, you're too big. You can't. And he's like, yeah, but, and I'm like, Maximus, you're going to get yourself in trouble, because now he's sulking.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, well, he starts doing something stupid. And I go, Max, use your words. Use your words. And he goes, well, you hurt my feelings when you said that about my face. And I went, I'm so sorry. I was
a sensitive kid.
I go, I would never want to hear. I go, come here. I go, look, it was a misunderstanding. I go, I was joking. You took it the wrong way. I would never want to hurt your feelings. But because some of you hurt somebody's feelings, you can't just go punch somebody. And he was like, all right. So we worked it out. But if that was my stepfather, not Larry who passed, but the other one, he would have hit me.
Yeah. He would have wrapped you right back.
Somebody, fucking boom. Your mother's ugly. You know what I mean? We said something about my mom. You know what I mean? But I think like when I take Max out camping with just me and him, one of the reasons I take him out there, number one, to be out in the woods at night, to be afraid, to be by a fire, to learn responsibility, to learn. And he sees me doing all the jobs I have to do. We have to do all this work to set the camp up. And he sees me cooking. He sees me cleaning. He sees me, all the shit that we do. He sees me doing that. That goes in him. That absorbs.
Yeah.
So that on the other hand, you have to be, you have to be careful because the bad shit absorbs too.
It's absolutely true, man. They see everything and they take it all in. I don't know how this show got so heavy today.
I love it. Listen, here's what scares me. There is a point where we are not going to be able to control the path of our child, where our child, no matter how much they have our eyes, our faces, our hands, our sense of humor, blah, 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 their soul, who they are, is going to go down their path. And no matter what it is, we're not going to be able to control that. We're only going to be able to be there for them. And that scares the fuck out of me.
I got a glimpse of that when Joey got in a fight with that guy, the adult who called Joey a jackass, and Joey on skates was 6'3". And I said, Joey, I'm your father, and I'm telling you to stop. And he looked at me and said, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to kill that guy. And I looked at my wife and I go, I'm not really sure what to do because my only thing I could do was try to tackle him because he was a man. He made a man decision and he told me right to my face, I'm going to fucking do this. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like,
that scares me because then he goes and hits the guy gets knocked out. The back of his head hits a fucking hockey stool. Fucking guy goes into a coma. Your kid's in fucking jail for manslaughter.
Yeah.
And I'm a psycho. I think of that shit all the time.
Me too. I think of all the dumb shit I did as a kid and how I tell Joey all the time, I'm like, I did so much dumb shit that I should have gone to jail for or could have ended in somebody dying that I just got lucky. You got to make smarter decisions than I did. I got lucky.
So lucky. And going back to the original topic with these homeless people, if it wasn't for the foster homes, the people, even though that they weren't all good, right? They weren't, whatever. Some of them were better than others. But the fact that they were there for me, instead of being in jail, I was in a home. And look, I remember, one of them, we had mac and cheese every single day with 1 cup of Kool-Aid. That's all you got.
Where?
You got 1 bowl of mac and cheese and you got 1 cup of Kool-Aid. That's it.
Where was it? In the kiddie jail?
This is in Lynn. This was foster homes.
In like somebody, like you lived with a family and that's what they fed you?
I've had, it's not what, it's what they fed me. It's what they could afford to feed. You know what I mean? It was just, but they just didn't have the money to give you what maybe my mom, my family, whatever could have gave me.
Did the other kids in that family eat the same shit?
Well, their kids, there was 2 foster homes I was in. There was 3 foster homes, 4 actually. 1 was very short term, so we won't count that. But the 3 that I was in for months, the first one I was in was this dude, I don't know what he was, construction guy and his wife, and they had a little daughter, this little girl, and they had a small little tiny house in Lynn, Massachusetts. At the time, is a very bad neighborhood, very bad part of Boston. And I remember they had a long-term kid. So there was the foster room, bunk beds, and the kid that was in there was this long-term foster kid. He's been there for over a year, and it was like their son. And he was a dickhead to me. Yeah, it was a total fucking dick. You know, he wound up leaving. I wound up being in the home. I went to another foster home from there. Where the fuck was it? Oh, they sent me to the country for long term. So I was going from short to that was only for short. Then they sent me to long term, which was going to be maybe indefinite. And I felt bad for this family because I fucked them. Because it was out in the Athol, Mass, way out in the fucking boondocks. And I remember the first day I showed up, they had another foster kid, and he was like a big fucking oof. Like, hey, how you doing? Like just a country oof. And he took me downtown. They had a bowling alley with 2 lanes. We hung out with these rednecks, long hair. They all looked like they were in fucking Led Zeppelin. They had buck knives. And I went back to the kid's house, one of the kids' houses, and we went up to this fucking attic room with all these fluorescent Zeppelin posters. And they smoked so much weed that, I mean, a bowl, a joint, a bowl, a joint, a bowl, a joint for like an hour, where I was seeing shit, dude. I was on another planet. Like, I'm from the city. We drank and did drugs and smoked weed, but we never just did weed until you fucking turned into a space alien.
Right.
You know? And I got so fucked up and so tripped out about this town. I told my, I feel terrible. And they were a nice family. I told my probation officer that I got high. And I told him what happened. I go, dude, I'm trying not to do drugs. And the first day there, I fucking got so stoned. I was seeing fucking spaceships. And I think the foster dad knows. And they were like, we got to get you out of there. They got me the fuck out. Like 2 days later, I was like, thank God. But what sucked, they put me back in my original foster home, which I loved, because the lady, her friend lived next door. She was like 21. I was, I think, 14. And I was fucking banging her.
Shut up.
Oh, I swear to God, she had a kid. And her boyfriend would get me high. He would drive me around in his Fiat and say, don't tell anybody that I'm getting you high. I'm like, I won't. And I won't tell anybody on your wife that I'm your girlfriend, that I'm fucking your girlfriend. Guys, while you're at work, I'm banging that broad. And I went back there. They were great. I loved that family. And then
I love that family too.
They shipped me to Lawrence. And that family really fucking sucked a bag of dicks, man. The guy would make me leave the house every morning at I couldn't stay home during the day because he was a security guard at night, and he liked to walk around the house in his underwear during the day.
Oh, what a creep.
Didn't feel comfortable with me around, so I had to leave. So I had to walk around in the winter in Lawrence, Massachusetts, which, by the way, had just gone through Spanish white riots because it was mainly Puerto Ricans. And I had to go to Lawrence High. I remember that. It was just, I mean, people would smoke. This high school, they'd be smoking cigarettes in the back row during class. Pregnant fucking chicks. And I remember I never got food. There was never enough food. They fucking terrible. And they weren't, the wife was okay, but the little kid, they had 2 little kids. The little fucking redhead came up to me and punched me one day. And I grabbed him and I was like, don't do that. He started crying. And they yelled at me, and they were going to fucking call my probation officer. I was like, he just punched me. They're like, it doesn't matter. You know?
See, that's why we don't have foster kids in my house. Because I always tell my wife, I'm like, I don't really want a foster kid because I'll get attached to them. And if they have to leave, I'll feel terrible if I got attached to them. And I go, maybe we should just adopt a kid. And my wife goes, no. And I go, why? And she goes, it's never works out. I go, what do you mean never works out? You're a mental health counselor. You're a social worker. And she goes, here's the problem, is that you'll love the kid. I go, yeah. And they go, what happens if the kid we have does something to Juliana? And I go, well, that kid has to die. She goes, that's why we can't have any foster kids now. So I was like, okay,
I mean,
point taken.
I would love to be a foster parent. If I was a millionaire, to be honest with you, if I was making millions and I had like enough to provide, that I would definitely be a foster.
See, Bobby, you got to understand that, you know, and you know this from being in the system, and it's part of the reason why it answers your question about the people in Los Angeles, why those millionaire fucks don't do anything to help out, because they don't give a shit. They don't know what it's like. They don't know. It's always the people who are poor, like this family that runs their charity, that my charity helps out.
Yeah.
They don't have anything, and they're happy. They have each other, and they're very happy with their lives, and they're now trying to help other people because they both grew up in a shitty system, because they know what it's like. These rich fucks, they don't give a shit because they're like, oh, just give them some money, that's it, move on, and they don't know what it's like.
Yeah, but most money you give to things doesn't really make it to the thing itself.
Never.
Or a very small percentage of it makes it to the thing.
We went to this charity thing that Eddie Vedder and his wife did in New York one time, me and a couple of my buddies, and they raised millions of dollars because it was mostly like really rich people. Yeah. And it was like the best charity I'd ever seen. It's these kids who have this sensitive skin disease where their skin is like tissue paper and it hurts. But the thing is like,
does Bush have that?
No, they were like, I left there wanting to give them more money because it was the first time I ever saw a charity where they're like, we should have this cured by 2025. Like they actually had an end date. They're like, we've made so much progress with the money that we have that we pretty much found a cure. We're almost done. And I went, no, Jerry Lewis had those fucking telethons for those kids for 100 years. Not one fucking thing had gotten done. Where'd all that money go?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, you know, I just think that, you know, look, I'm an addict and a recovering addict. And I mean, even food, I could say, you see, I'm still using, you know, I'm still trying to keep my shit together with that, you know, but I think responsibility is the key to success when it comes to, you know, living a better life. And if you don't give somebody if you don't give them that responsibility, that opportunity that gives them, so when you do something and you just let them be homeless, you're killing them. You're killing them, but you're also making it easier for other people to do it. You know, I just don't believe in that shit. Get them the fuck off the street. Build a facility. You know, get a facility, build it, get them in it, and get them off the alcohol and drugs, and help them with that. And as far as young homeless people, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
You're just trying to live some fucking vagrant life with no responsibility, and that's on you.
You know, if that was the case, go to a nicer place. Go to a place. I'd be up in Lake Havasu, just fucking living in that water every day.
But like, I mean, if I was gonna live outside, I'd just go to Alaska. I'd go to Alaska. I'd learn how to fucking build a shelter. I'd build it, and then I'd live up there and live off the land or do something like that. There's no way I would fucking live in a shit city, going through garbage, shitting in the street. I mean, that's a dumb choice to me, dude. Fucking stupid choice.
I like to point out that Lou called mush old onion skin. That's almost as good as primer face.
That means I can't take a joke, though. I don't understand the.
What do you mean, buddy?
Onion skin means like you're thin skinned, like you can't take a joke.
No, if you ever peeled an onion, you look pretty white.
No, you're being thin skinned. That's not what it means.
I know what she was going for. I just don't like I don't like the joke doesn't track, as you like to put.
Old onion skin's a good combination of words. I don't care what it means.
No, but
it's a good combination of words. I'm not saying that.
Onions are white. White onions. Most onions are white.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Fuck, Mush wants to fight Lou.
I know. But everybody's off of Reuben time right now.
Well, no, I just looked up that disease that Mike was talking about, and that is, and like now it's horrible. That's why I didn't pull it up, because it was.
Yeah, it's horrible. It affects mostly kids, and it's terrible. But they're gonna find a cure. I mean, they have a cure. They just need to get it. The testing and all that.
Yeah. Speaking of onion skin.
That didn't track.
If you see these pictures, it would.
What is it?
Moose is making fun of the sick young kid.
Who is?
Moose. I mean Mush.
Moose. What the fuck did you call Mush?
My Mush is named Moose.
What is he doing?
The kid's skin comes off, so he was calling him onion skin.
Peeling off.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Listen, man. I don't know. I think I would rather be blowing a guy at a farm with fucking food and a roof over my head and a job than
I think you'd just rather be blowing a guy.
Yeah, you know what? I think you cut into it. I mean, if you cut the meat off of it.
Why don't you and Joe List just fucking get it done already?
What, Joe List? Why do you bring Joe List up?
Because Joe's dying to get fucked by a guy.
You think Joe wants to get fucked by a guy?
Have you not listened to every time he's on the show? Him and Sarah watching that movie about the gay guys going to bang in the bushes, and Joe's like, "Oh, it sounds delightful. I'd love to see what it's like to get a big old cock in my butthole."
I don't know, man. I think
Joe would have fucked Mark Norman, except he wants a bigger, stronger guy.
He wants a more popular dick.
By the way, Brett Ernst is coming on my show, I think this week. Him and his eyebrows. And then who else?
I love fucking Brett Ernst. Brett Ernst is a great guy.
Yeah.
Another guy got divorced.
Did he?
Yeah, remember T-Rex, the kid we had on here?
Yeah.
Divorced.
Holy cow.
They're separated. All these guys got fucking separated. I can't imagine. I mean, look.
Yeah. I never told you something so funny. Is that when Bob Marley was on, who I think is a super nice guy, very funny and a great guest.
Yeah.
When Bob Marley came on our show, like one of the first things he's like, "Hey, Mike." He's like, "Yeah, I did Mike's show down in Tampa." And I was like, he was on my show? Like, I'm at the point where I've done this so long, I can't remember if I've met somebody. Like, I wonder if I meet a girl that I've banged and when I'm in my 20s, if I'd remember her now. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I would. I haven't slept with hundreds of women.
You haven't slept with hundreds of women?
Okay, maybe I have, but I don't. Most of it was in college. I'm like, I just wonder if I had a one night stand, if I met her now, like I would think in my mind, I would know. I would be like, oh yeah, I remember that girl. And now I think I would forget. I'm just getting old now. That guy has a name like Bob Marley, a face like that, and he was funny and on my show, and I don't remember it. And then I was like, oh yeah, he was on the show.
No, dude, you do a show 5 days a week
for 30
all year
years.
long. Yeah, dude. And you probably had him on once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm old.
I mean, but the thing we should be more scared of is the 12th degree black belt line you did immediately. You went, oh yeah, what's up? You just went with it because I'm a
very good ad lib actor.
Oh, you are a Sicilian liar. You could go to Italy and be inducted to the Sicilian Lying Hall of Fame.
I don't know why you have to make. I'm saying I'm a good ad lib actor, and you have to turn it into a black belt Hall of Fame liar. But I understand,
dude. You are not. Listen, man. You are a Sicilian mafioso liar. You were like, yeah, man, that was good seeing. That was a good time.
Like, I'm gonna call Bobby after the show and be like, "Fuck homeless people."
I know, dude. Look at one of the things you have that is you're one of the guys. I went down and bought 3 bicycles at Walmart because you're like, I remember that time when I was like, I love this guy. I fucking love him. I called my wife after we were done. And that's why I love helping kids, because I believe kids, their cake isn't baked.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can make an impression, a greater impression on a child's life than you can on a middle-aged or fucking even a 20-year-old, blah, blah, blah. But I believe a child, you really set them down a different path with just a little touch, a little love.
Basically, what you're saying is, I believe the children are our future.
They're not our future. Yes. But when you said, I got to go do this thing. We're going to get breakfast. And you're like, I got to do this thing before we go down. I'm like, what? I got to go to Walmart. We're doing a bike drive for kids. And I was like, what? And we went down and we just bought, me and you bought, I think you bought 5 bikes. I bought 3 bikes and Galvin bought 3 bikes. We were buying 1 bike and like, I'm buying 2. And I was like, well, I'm buying 3. And then you fucking outdicked me and bought 5. And we just bought all these bikes in Walmart. I mean, we didn't say it. We didn't say we're going to do it. We just went and had the fucking bikes.
Yep.
And we did it. And we gave kids who don't have bikes, because you think, in my brain, you think, oh, you got to go, there's a kid starving or with flies around his head. No. You go by the kid who doesn't have a bike, and then they ride around and they feel beautiful inside and they feel awesome. That spreads forever. Yep. They'll do the same thing to somebody else someday. That's when I knew you were fucking, you'd slice somebody's throat or shoot somebody in the face in traffic, but you're a beautiful human being.
Dude, we get to do it every Christmas, and we we have money for the charity. We do events, and we save the money, and then at Christmas we find families and we just go out and buy them Christmas gifts, and it's the greatest thing ever. So if I get a call from a lady and she's like, I got a foster family, they got 3 kids and the husband lost a job and they got not, I got you. We got it covered. Don't worry. Nobody should have a shitty Christmas.
I got to get all this queer talk off of my fucking hands.
Tomorrow we'll go back to being mean and funny.
Yeah. Oh God,
Bobby and I never talk and say, hey, today on the show we're going to talk about the homeless situation, and the show just spiraled onto its own on what it is. And I think it's good every once in a while to be able to have a good conversation, especially when we don't agree on something.
Absolutely, but we do basically agree on shit. You want homeless people to do whatever they want and take over the country, and I believe in America and responsibility and our flag.
Something like that.
The only reason why you don't care about that is because nobody's getting through your gate.
Yeah, that's right. Like I always think long story, we'll get into it one day, but the paparazzi of local news showed up at my brother's house one time, and they were in his driveway, and they saw me and they walked into the garage, and I was like, these people are not invited here. And just because they saw me in the garage did not give them the allowance to come into the garage. So I just started beating the shit out of them.
You did?
Oh yeah. There's nothing they could do about it because they crossed onto my property. I'm legally in Florida. I'm absolutely legally able to defend against trespassers. I chased a guy out to the van in the news van, and he closed the door, and I started punching it, trying to break the passenger window. I was like, that'll stop you from coming back. Yeah, I got a guy. I don't want to say his name, but I'll show you a picture of him one time. I wailed on him in the garage. Then I went inside. My mother comes out and she goes, "What's going on?" I go, "Man, some news guys in the garage. I took care of it." It wasn't really paparazzi crumb. It was Channel 28 News, ABC, and Channel 10 News, which is CBS. They both showed up at the same time, trying to beat each other to the story. And when I was in the garage, they thought I was my brother, and they ran at me with their cameras and their microphones. And it wasn't my brother; it was me. And I just started wailing on them, and they had no idea what the fuck was happening. The CBS ran, and the ABC guy got his ass kicked.
Why did what were they after your brother for? What did he do?
I'll tell you off the air. They weren't after my brother. There was a situation that happened that some news broke that day, and they wanted to come and talk to them. And it was a bad thing. It was a tragic thing. It wasn't bad. So
okay.
But it was fun to be able to whip some people's asses.
That's great. All right, listen. It is I think I broke my toe, by the way. Fuck. I broke it myself.
You might have gout.
I don't have gout. What the fuck is gout?
You look like a guy who would have gout.
You look like you have gout in your fucking face.
You don't even know gout. You just said, "What is gout?" And then you tried to put it on me.
You have face gout.
Oh, well, that might be true.
All right, buddy. Tomorrow, what's up, Mush? What time are we tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're at 7. We have H. Foley from the Are You Garbage podcast.
Good. I love those guys.
Are we have both of them or just one?
Just Foley.
I love that guy.
I do. I like both of them a lot.
Bobby, the first time they were on the show, they asked me questions to find out if I was garbage, and one of them was, "Do I have lions anywhere in my house?" I'm like, "No." Then the next time Bobby came to my house, like 6 months later, he was like, "You got fucking lions right there, you lying piece of shit."
You have a lion out front.
It's on. It was on a vase. I didn't know it was. I didn't even notice it.
You have not only you have. I think it's 8 lions.
All right. See you jerks tomorrow. Are you doing YKWd tonight?
I gotta do YKWd tonight with Mr. Anthony Cumia at 9:00. It is live and unedited for Patreon people only. So if you guys are up and want to tune in, I mean, a lot's going on with this guy. He's moving down to South Carolina.
Yep.
Dave Landau is no longer with the show. He's over with Louder with Crowder. I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Can I tell you what should happen? What they do? Move Jim and Sam to 8:00?
Yeah.
They should just suck it up and put Anthony back on that show.
What, 8:00 in the morning, 8 to 11?
Yeah.
What were they before?
6 to 7. First they were 6 to 10, then they were 7 to 10, and now they're 8 to 11. What goes on before?
What are they doing?
I don't know. That whole thing sucks. That whole
I'd
series
love
thing.
to do 6 to 8. That'd be great.
Who the fuck wants to do 6 to 8? 2 bullshit hours of radio.
Well, just put our show on.
No,
run our show.
They can't have our. I don't want this product to be associated with that garbage anymore. Wow. That station, that Sirius is awful. Don't get me wrong. I love Bennington and I love Jim and Sam and all that stuff, but they are just letting that channel go to the shits, man.
Okay. Well, we have that other big announcement that we're going to make.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I believe the children are our future.
See you guys. Hey, listen. There you go.
This weekend, see my friend Bobby Kelly. He'll be at the Mohican Sun in Connecticut Thursday through Saturday, and then up at Uncle Vinny's on the 13th in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and then Thursday and Friday, the 18th and 19th of March at Salt Lake City, Utah at Wise Guys, and then later on the 26th and the 27th in Albany, New York at the Funny Bone, Friday, April 2nd and Saturday, April 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio at Hilarities, and on Thursday, April 8th in McHenry, Illinois, the McHenry Indoor Theater.
I can't wait. This weekend, you are fantastic at that. I'm so much better than everybody else. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You're the number one radio guy in fucking the country.
I don't even know what I'm saying when I read
it. You know what you're saying? You're saying I'm your number one best friend is what you're fucking saying.
Saying things with my mouth, but I'm saying something different with my heart.
All right. So tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about breast cancer and AIDS. We'll see you then. Bye.